We begin with a verdict sending shockwaves from New York City to every corner of the country. Former President Trump guilty on all 34 counts. Thanks for staying up with us. I'm Glenn Jones. Priscilla Casper has the night off. Sketches from the courtroom illustrate the moment Trump learned he was convicted on all state felony charges. Both he and District Attorney Alvin Bragg spoke after the verdict.
The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here.
Many voices out there. The only voice that matters is the voice of the jury, and the jury has spoken.
Tonight, we have team coverage tracking what happened in New York and the impact here in Boston. We begin with NBC 10 political reporter Matt Pritchard. Matt.
Yeah, Glenn, the jury deliberated for just about 9 hours over the course of 2 days, handing down that sweeping verdict that you mentioned and cementing a historic moment that's going to ripple through to Election Night 2024.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial.
Immediate reaction from Donald Trump, the former president convicted on all 34 felony charges brought by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg.
I did my job. Our job is to follow the facts and the law without fear or favor. And that's exactly what we did here.
Now, the prosecution striking a sober celebratory tone.
Their deliberations led them to a unanimous conclusion beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Donald J. Trump, is guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree to conceal a scheme to corrupt the 2016 election.
Now, over the course of 6 weeks, they brought forward 20 witnesses tied to hush money payments made to adult film actress Stormy Daniels in the lead up to the 2016 election. Now, the man who wrote those checks, Michael Cohen, serving as star witness and reacting to the verdict on MSNBC.
34 counts, one after the other, after the other, after the other, of guilty. It's accountability. It's exactly what America needs right now.
Outside Trump Tower, Trump waving to crowds after a lengthy motorcade trip back from the courthouse. He and his legal team remaining defiant and repeating a familiar refrain.
We will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
Now, as for what happens next, Donald Trump is likely to appeal this ruling. In fact, his attorney has said that they are going to do that as quickly as they can. But as of now, a sentencing date is set for July 11th. That's just a few days ahead of the 2024 Republican National Convention, where he will officially be named the party's nominee. Glenn?
Okay, Matt, we know we need to look forward to that sentencing day on July 11th. But what's the likelihood here that the former president actually goes to prison?
Yeah, it's certainly a question a lot of people are asking right now. Experts I've spoken with say it's unlikely that Donald Trump will ultimately face any prison time. The nature of this crime, the lack of a criminal history for himself, both play a factor in any sort of sentencing that would be handed down. That said, he could in theory face something, and so certainly we'll be watching closely in the days ahead.
And his advanced age could play a role too, Matt. Thank you. And our team coverage continues now with NBC 10's Michael Rosenfield gauging the impact of this guilty verdict here in New England. Michael.
Glenn, many people out here thought this might go on for several more days because it's such a historic case. Word spread quickly when the verdict was reached this afternoon.
The historic news that a former president was convicted of 34 criminal counts made its way quickly around the city.
I think he got what he deserved. Honestly, we knew this was coming. We're law students. We watched this trial come out, and this is exactly the outcome I expected.
I think he still has a lot of power, though, even though he's guilty, though, but he knows a lot of people and a lot of connections, and they're going to overturn it. Because that's what appeals courts are for.
I'm a little surprised. I'm not really sure how they picked an impartial jury because it feels like no one could be impartial on this.
The general consensus was the verdict came down much more quickly than most people thought.
It went surprisingly fast, but that's a good thing. It's a good thing. I don't think something like that should have been dragged out.
I think they were going to take a long time with it and eventually just like not say that he was guilty because it's easier to do that and because he seems to have so much power.
Well, it's completely stunning, and it happened, really quickly.
Tom Whalen is a presidential historian at Boston University.
You have to believe that there is some Republicans on that jury today, and they put aside their partisanship to go with their consciences. And, a good sign for our democracy.
Whalen says it's unlikely Trump will spend time behind bars. He sees probation as the outcome at sentencing this summer.
He's been able to get out of all sorts of scandals and problems, but it looks like the legal system has finally caught up with him.
Donald Trump still has a lot on his plate, legally speaking. Besides sentencing in this case, he still has 3 other court cases. Live in Boston tonight, Michael Rosenfield, NBC 10 Boston.
Shortly after the verdict was read in New York City, a group of legal commentators who host the Sisters-in-Law podcast took the stage at the Schubert Theater here in Boston. We caught up with a couple of them to ask about the possible impact on voters and the former president's characterization of a rigged system.
This is someone who only believes in a system or a process when he wins. Every time he loses, it doesn't matter what it is. It's a witch hunt. It's unfair. People are out to get him. The jury decided the case on the facts. Donald Trump will never accept that, but that's reality.
And so I think for some people, somebody crossing a line, crossing a legal line and committing a crime, that could make a difference as to whether they vote for them or not.
And the question of how this will impact Decision 2024 is also weighing on the minds of local political figures. We spoke with people on both sides of the aisle about the verdict.
Democrats have an opportunity here to govern, to campaign, to win voters' trust on law and order issues. And I'm going to hit Donald Trump and his operation hard on this conviction. Now that it has been decided in a court of law, it is absolutely fair game to be considered by voters at the ballot box.
President Trump has shown an innate ability to use what would typically be a negative for many candidates into a positive. So he'll certainly try to use this as a positive and try to turn it around as a government that is anxious to prevent him from being president again. That'll be his message, and I think it'll resonate with a lot of Americans.
This has been some day. Be sure to stay with NBC 10 Boston for continuing coverage of this historic verdict. We have everything you need to know on our website and on our mobile app.